Urgency at Hollis Hall. I'm bringing you the full picture tonight. What changed in the building after the bye? Why the run game became a boardroom priority? How a specific profile checks every box this staff cares about? And where the money and draft capital makes sense without breaking the larger plan? I'll connect the tape, the cap sheet, and the trade clock. When every piece is on the table, the headline lands clean and undeniable. You're watching Bears News Fan Report. I'm not here to chase noise. I'm here to map decisions. I'll start with the football problem the Bears needed to solve. Then I'll show you the exact traits the target brings, the contract logic that makes it rational, and the rotational ripple effects with this offense. If you value clarity and straight talk, lock in with me. This one matters for how we play in December. The context first, because the truth lives in the details. Chicago used a Week 5 break to reset an offense that kept stalling where seasons are won, on the ground. The numbers didn't lie. 24th in rushing yards per game at 102.3, and that's including quarterback yards. Strip Caleb Williams scrambles from the total, and you saw a unit that struggled to get consistent, efficient gains from its backs. D'Andre Swift had flashes, but the baseline sat at 3.3 yards per carry through 4 games. 56 attempts for 187 yards and a pair of scores. That isn't a crisis by itself. It becomes one when early down inefficiency forces long second and third downs, compressing the playbook and putting your young quarterback in harm's way. So, what did the staff actually need? Not a fantasy football name and answer. The ask was simple to describe and hard to find. A back who can create after contact, finish between the tackles, hold up in pass protection, and threaten explosives without needing a dozen carries to warm up. The film study pointed toward a runner with true 3-down gravity, the kind that changes how defenses allocate bodies and how they respond to motion. In short, a tone setter who multiplies the value of everything else you already installed for Caleb. Enter Breece Hall, and let me be clinical about it. Through 5 games, he stacked 351 rushing yards on 66 carries, 5.3 per attempt, without yet hitting the end zone, and added 17 catches for 150 as a receiver. That profile is not empty yards. It's leverage. He is a slasher with vision who turns duo into 8-yarders, who punishes light boxes, and who forces single high looks on a staff that wants to keep 2 safeties back against our speed. He accelerates in the daylight and, crucially, survives in tight spaces when the crease is a half step late. That's what finishing a run looks like in the real league. The trade calendar matters. November 4th is the final bell. Once you cross it, you live with what you are. The front office had to decide whether to burn assets on a short-term spark or invest in a player who fits the build around Caleb Williams for the next 3 years. This is where Hall is more than a highlight reel. He's a former second-round pick in the final year of his rookie deal. That means the acquisition cost sits in a zone you can stomach. And the second contract projected around 4 years? Roughly $32.5 million starting in 2026 is a number you can plan for now instead of invent later. Put that next to Swift's current 3-year structure and the 2026 escape hatch with only $1.33 million in dead cap. And you can see the fork in the road. Either you bridge to a home run profile you extend, or you ride a committee and accept the weekly variance. Now the scheme. Ben Johnson doesn't build run games with gimmicks. He builds them with rules. The Bears want to marry inside duo and gap concepts to motion and quick game looks that stress the second level. With Breece Hall, those rules get teeth. In duo, he reads the play side backer with patience, then explodes through the crease with square pad single missed tackle. Chain moves. Let's talk rotation, because roles win games. You don't erase D'Andre Swift if the room keeps him. You reshape his usage. Swift becomes the change of pace and space creator jet. Orbit, arrow while Hall eats the tough carries and closes halves. Roschon Johnson becomes your hammer on 4-minute offense and a core special teamer you trust on 3rd and 2. Kyle Monangai grows into the steadying adult who keeps the floor high when someone needs a breather. The point is not star chasing. It's snap economy. A fresh, properly slotted room is how you arrive in December with healthy legs and consistent. Efficiency. Now money and risk the ledger no one can skip. You don't pay a premium for a rental unless it turns you into a top 5 offense overnight. That's not the bet here. The clean play is a disciplined offer, an early day 3 pick that escalates on snap count and production, or a pair of later picks with performance triggers. You maintain your top 100 draft power, and you keep the flexibility to extend Hall only if he proves to fit in your system. The medical file always matters for a running back. That's not a scare tactic. It's reality. You bake it into the price and the deal structure more playtime triggers, less guaranteed cash early in an extension, and a clear plan for usage that keeps him explosive. Cap construction is the next filter. Brad Holmes and the front office have a non-negotiable. Protect the second contract wave. Aiden Hutchinson is a cornerstone. Jahmyr Gibbs, Brian Branch, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta. This is a core that must be locked down on schedule. Trading for Breece Hall only makes sense if it does not jeopardize those deals. The math checks out precisely because you can get out of the raw money in 2026 if you need to. And you can time Hall's real cap hits to arrive after the big extensions hit their manageable middle years. It's not magic. It's sequencing. How does this change Sunday mechanics? Think about the first script. Under center, condensed splits, a kill system at the line, duo to the left, cut off to the right, flat control with a quick speed out. If the defense stays too high, you live in 5-yard hammers until they blink. If they spin down, you take the RPO glance or you have Caleb rip a shot to the post. With Hall on the field, you aren't begging for boxes to lighten. You're forcing them to declare. And when you get the lead, welcome to 4-minute football. That is where Hall's body blows break spirits. 2 first downs. Their timeout's gone. Kneel. Win. Short yardage has been a script killer. This is where Breece Hall's contact balance changes equations. On 3rd and 1, you don't need a trick. You need a back who gets square and refuses to be perfect to be productive. The Bears have struggled there not because they aren't tough, but because they haven't consistently won the half-man fight at the point of attack. A runner who hits the crease with his pads as a weapon changes that math. It's not a highlight. It's how you keep clock and control. I want to be fair to Swift, because the room deserves honesty. He offers space juice, angle route stress, and the ability to turn checkdowns into chain movers. If you keep him next to Hall, you make defensive coordinators choose which poison they can live with, and most weeks, they guess wrong. If the Bears decide the right play is to move Swift after adding Hall, the timeline and the 2026 escape valve make that possible without pain. Either way, the principle is the same. Fewer wasted runs. More predictable second downs. Cleaner life for a young quarterback who shouldn't have to be a superhero. To survive drives. Now, the moment you came for the shift from concept to commitment. Inside the building, the conversation has moved from explore to execute. The Bears have aligned on Breece Hall as the solution and are working from a finalized framework that fits the cap plan and protects premium picks. That is the confirmation that matters tonight. The green light on the strategy, the green light on the fit, and the green light on the price range. What remains is transactional, medicals, triggers, and the final thumbs up that turns the plan into a press release. I'll say it like a pro because that's how we do it here. This is not a headline grab. It's a football move. It respects the draft board, it respects the locker room, and it respects the quarterback's development curve. The offense doesn't need a savior. It needs a back who makes the right read at 4 yards and threatens the house at 40. That's Breece Hall's tape. And that's why this front office is on it right now. Before I close, I want to hear you because this community is sharp. What's your line in the sand on compensation? Would you do a 2026 fourth with snap count and yardage escalators to a third? Would you rather go 2 late picks and preserve the 4th entirely? If keeping Swift is part of your plan, what does your rotation look like by quarter? And if your plan involves moving Swift after Hall arrives, what's a realistic return that keeps our board strong next April? Drop your packages, your red lines, and your preferred extension structure in the comments. Here's the concise professional read. Breece Hall to Chicago is a disciplined, roster-aligned move that raises the run game's floor and ceiling, protects the second contract core, and simplifies life for Caleb Williams on every down. The Bears have chosen the path and are walking it. The remaining steps are procedural, not philosophical. If you value fast updates and deep, straight analysis, subscribe, turn on the alerts, and share this with a friend who texts you at the first hint of a trade. I'll be in the comments tonight, and when this story moves an inch, you'll get it here first, clean, clear, and built for Bears fans who think the game.